in stark contrast to that press conference 2 days ago, like I mentioned earlier, we're here in LA. Your man, Carl Frampton, rematching against Leo Santa Cruz. He won convincingly in the first fight. And I was just pondering this last night. Were you guys happy with the rematch, or would you prefer going it and defending it against somebody else, or maybe going straight into the Selby fight?
Well, we had a 6-month rematch clause, and for both ways. So when it's fresh on your mind, when you're coming off a hard fight like that, a Fight of the Year candidate, you want to basically go in there, straight away, because he knows him. It's his last memory being in with the small gloves underneath the lights. And I think, from obviously working with Frampton for the last 6 years, as soon as he spars someone and as soon as it's fresh in his mind, the second time he does it, he knows exactly what he has to do. And I think as the fight went on, Frampton was figuring him out. And all Leo can do, in my opinion, is just apply more pressure. By applying more pressure, he's going to leave himself more open. So he threw a lot of punches. He threw over 1,000 punches. So if he was to do that this next fight, if he was to say throw 1,200 punches, he might empty the gas tank a little bit earlier and leave himself a little bit more vulnerable. But it's gonna be a really exciting fight. We're expecting a hard fight. I still don't think Carl. If you watch the whole way through the fight, Carl hit him clean a few times, but Leo hit him clean throughout the fight, and it never affected Carl. But every time Carl hit him, even cuffing left hooks, his legs was shaking a little bit. So I believe if Leo applies that little bit more pressure, he might walk into a heavy shot.
That's what Carl mentioned too, that he really feels that a knockout can happen in this fight, given what you mentioned. I know you guys never trained for the knockout, but do you see, because it's a rematch, you already have the first fight to take reference, that it's much more likely this time around?
No, I think I don't know. I just think it all depends on what Leo does. If he goes into his shell, he's hard to hit clean. So it all depends on how he approaches his next fight. But I think we're preparing for a very, very hard fight, and we're excited about it. This is what Carl's been dreaming of since he was a kid, to headline in Las Vegas and fight a Mexican like Leo Santa Cruz, a 3-weight world champion. So he gave us the opportunity to fight for his belt, and Carl's rematched him straight away because he was appreciative of what he did for him. So it's going to be a great fight. It's two respectful guys. They both really respect each other as fighters, and I'm looking forward to it.
You being in the corner of that first fight, did you notice anything off of Leo? I know that he had problems with his dad or anything like that, and he's mentioned like he didn't feel like himself, but you guys are the other side. You guys are going to say, well, that's because of Carl. He didn't look that way because of Carl's movement and the way he was. What do you make of all that?
I'll stand to that. Exactly. That's exactly the way I feel. I think, styles make fights, and when you start running out of ideas, like he did, if you look at the Abner Mares fight, Abner Mares fought the completely wrong fight. He walked into him, tried to crowd him. Leo's got a great engine. He'll keep punching until literally he'll punch you off every time. Whereas Abner Mares was trying to wrestle him off. So we came up with a good strategic game plan. And I think it's going to be a similar one to this fight. I don't see Leo Santa Cruz can do anything different. He tried to keep it long. He was getting clipped at distance, so he tried to smother him. When Carl was working on the inside, Leo was throwing more, but Carl was catching him with a more powerful, eye-catching shot. So it all depends what the judges are looking for. But they might favour him a little bit more, Leo, in the rematch, but we're going to make it a lot more convincing. And there's a lot of mistakes that Carl made in that fight, and I think from a technical standpoint, Leo didn't make as many mistakes. He just ran out of ideas. Carl made some technical faults, so if we can adjust them, then it could be an easier fight and potentially get the knockout.
3-division world champion after this, you feel? Is that the goal?
Of course, it's the goal. I don't see his body going too much more than 130. If he'd have started like Leo turned pro at 18, he probably would have been a bantamweight, could have done something then and then moved up. But he didn't. He was in the amateurs. He did a lot in the amateurs and started he was actually a featherweight in the amateurs, so we brought him down. I was struggling to make welterweight, and I was saying, well, you're not struggling to do feather. You can go down to super bantam. And then he went there, and then in the end it became a struggle. So it's a right move for us to move up to 126. We're not rushing out of this division anytime soon. There's some exciting fights out there. There's Lee Selby. There's the winner of Abner Mares versus Color, and obviously there's Oscar Valdez as well. So there's some potentially great fights for us. Carl only wants to be in big fights from now on, and I'm excited for him. And I think 130 will probably be our limit, but we'll probably look at that the following year, 2018.
Well, he has a bright future ahead. Shane, it's great seeing you. Good talking with you. Really appreciate it. January 28th, it goes down. Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton in Las Vegas, Nevada.